Good morning, dear viewers of my channel. The Russian occupiers are pressing the Ukrainian armed forces on almost all fronts. In particular, a critical situation has developed west of the village of Robitny, and in the Bogdanivka area, the Russian armed forces managed to capture the territory above the village. The situation along the entire Ukrainian front line remains tense. The occupiers are advancing in several directions, including the Bakhmut and Avdiivka directions. The situation in the Svatov direction. In the Svatov direction, the Russian armed forces are launching strikes east of Terny in order to improve their tactical position. In Serebryansky Forest, the enemy advances more actively and in greater numbers. A huge number of personnel were involved in this sector. So far, we have been able to hold back the onslaught of the horde. Positions in the forest are littered with Russian corpses. But it is important to understand that the Ukrainian armed forces are also suffering losses, although much smaller. The Russian armed forces are using guided aerial bombs in the forest. It feels like they're acting in a hurry. The situation in the Bakhmut direction. In the Bakhmut direction, the Russian occupiers continue their offensive in the Bogdanovka area. The Russian armed forces managed to capture the territory above the village. According to preliminary information from several sources, the occupiers have occupied a cemetery near Bogdanovka, although some claim that both the cemetery and the swimming pool are still under our control. The enemy managed to advance east of Ivanovka. Fighting continues for the heights near Bogdanovka, Klishchivka, which the Russians have not yet borrowed and we hope will not occupy. The situation in the Avdiivsky direction. In this sector of the front, the Russian armed forces are conducting active offensive operations in the Stepovoy area. The Ukrainian armed forces are striking at them, and the attacks are being repelled. According to analysts, there are more and more cases when only enemy equipment goes for an assault, and the infantry refuses to assault. North of Stepovoy, the enemy is attacking the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces, and fighting continues. At the dachas of Avdiivka, the enemy managed to break through a little to the south, but he was thrown back to his original positions. Periodically, the enemy lands troops south of Severny. The exact situation is unknown. The Russian armed forces continue to attack our positions within Pervomaisk. The fighting continues. The enemy has captured the ruins of the city of Maryenka. The Ukrainian armed forces are building a new defensive line on the outskirts and outside the city. In the Berdyansk direction, according to our data, there are no significant changes at the front. The situation in the Zaporozhye direction. According to available data, a simply critical situation has developed west of Robitny. The enemy is increasing the presence of artillery and increasing the activity of using guided aerial bombs. In addition, the enemy rained chemicals on the positions of one of the mechanized brigades, which caused vomiting, dizziness, and difficulty breathing. The situation on the left bank of the Dnieper. In the Torite direction, Russian invaders are trying to dislodge the Ukrainian armed forces from previously occupied positions on the left bank of the Dnieper. The occupiers are trying to dislodge the Ukrainian defenders from the bridgehead in Krinky, but no significant changes have been recorded. Conclusions. Summarizing the above, we have come to the conclusion that the Russian armed forces continue to press back the Ukrainian armed forces along most of the line of contact. The goals of the Russians remain unchanged: to reach Kupiansk, push back Ukrainian troops across the Zherebets River, reach Chasovy Yar, surround Avdiivka, and enter the operational space near Maryenka. Thank you for watching our channel. Subscribe so you don't miss interesting videos. See you next time on the channel.